Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to our optics class. In previous lecture, we discussed about the concave mirror. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the convex lens, then the law of refraction in detail. So, in convex mirror, if we see optical axis is there, object is there, and virtual image is formed when when incident light incident on a convex surface of a mirror. How that image is formed, that we have to understand with the help of this graphical diagram. This graphical technique for locating the image of a convex mirror is shown in this figure. For convex mirror, the image on the opposite side of the mirror is virtual and the image on the same side of the mirror are real. This figure shows a virtual upright and smaller image. In comparison to the virtual image of the concave mirror, the virtual image of convex mirror is still upright. We are able to see in this figure. Okay. But it is a smaller instead of enlarged, and on the opposite side of the mirror instead of this small side. Again, the virtual image is formed by extending back and reflected diverging rays, and we are getting the real image of an object in an object space. Okay, this is all about the convex mirror. Now, the law of refraction. A refraction is the bending of light when the beam passes from a transparent medium into another. A transparent object allows the transmission of light in contrast to an opaque object which does not. Some of the light will also be reflected. The incident ray, reflected ray, normal and refracted ray are shown in this figure. When Snell observed light traveling from air into another transparent medium, he found a constant ratio of sines of the angle measured from normal to the light ray in that medium. That is, n is equal to sin theta 1 by sin theta 2, sin theta 1 by sin theta 2, and n is the refractive index, and which depends only upon the optical properties of that material. It depends on the optical properties of that transparent material. The refractive index gives the amount of bending occurring when light travels from air into the material. Actually, it is a dimensionless number, and can be located tables of properties of the material. For example, a well-known example is water. The refractive index of water is 1.333, and the refractive index of glass can vary from 1.5 to 1.62 depending upon the composition of that glass. For more general cases, the light traveling from medium 1 to medium 2, Snell's law can be written as n1 sin theta 1 is equal to n2 sin theta 2. Okay, where theta 1 and theta 2 are the angles and indices of the refraction of material 1 and material 2 respectively. A light ray travel along the normal with an incident angle of 0 will not be bent. If theta 1 is 0 or which is along the direction of normal, that in that case light cannot be bent. As we know, the ratio of speed of light in a vacuum to the speed of light in that medium is also gives a refractive index. So let us discuss one example. Consider this problem involving both reflection and refraction. Imagine a light entering and reflecting off a mirror at the bottom. First, what will be the angle of refraction in the water if the angle in air is 30 degree? If the angle in air is 30 degree. Second, at what angle will the beam leaves the water? So let us try to solve this or try to understand this problem. Angle theta 2 is determined from theta 1. As we know, theta 1 is equal to 30 degree. According to Snell's law, refraction, angle theta 1 is equal to theta 2. By geometry, theta 3 is equal to theta 4, as we see in this figure. By law of reflection, theta 4 is equal to theta 5. By geometry, theta 6 is related to theta 5. By Snell's law of reflection. In the same ratio, theta 1 to theta 2, theta 1 to theta 2, theta 1 is related with theta 2, theta 3 is related with theta 4, theta 4 is related with theta 5, and theta 5 is related with theta 6. In this geometry, the angle of the ray leaving the water must be 30 degree, because the problem is symmetric. Initially it incident on a water level, after that it reflects from mirror, again by exiting it again incident on a water level, and finally it move in a free space. That's why this problem is symmetry. Therefore theta 6 is also equal to the theta 1. So if we see a light ray passing through a rectangular block of transparent material will simply be displaced from its original path. Simply displaced from its original path. For example, if we see this figure, when a ray of light is passing from air to glass, the ray will bend towards the normal. Towards the normal. When it leaving the glass block, the ray will bend away from the block, away from the normal, sorry, not block, away from the normal, so that the measuring angle in the air on each side of the block are same. That's why theta 1 on the both side of transparent material from both side of block is same. Okay. Now next, optical lenses. An optical lens functions by refracting light at its interface. The lens will be assumed to be thin, in which case the thickness of the lens is negligible compared with the focal length. Okay. So lenses are basically two types, a converging lens and diverging lens. A converging lens cause parallel rays, diverging lens cause parallel rays to divergence. In converging, parallel rays to converging. In case of diverging lens, parallel rays to diverging. If we see this figure A and B, it illustrates the path of the ray through the lens and focal point for each case. The definition of optical axis, a focal point and the focal length given for curved mirror hold true for lens also, with the additional that lenses have focal point on each side of the lens, That's why in case of converging lens, all incident light which is parallel to the optical axis get converging at a point F. It gives the focal length of that converging lens. When all incident rays are parallel to the optical axis, get diverging when it passes throughout a diverging lens. That's why they named as a converging as well as diverging lens. So a ray diagram can be made for lenses similar to those drawn for a curved mirror. These three rays can be drawn to locate the image found by the lenses. Three rays. First one is the ray directed parallel to the optical axis refracts through F on the far side first. Second one, the ray directed to near f to the near f refracts parallel to the optical axis, and third one, the ray directed to the center of the lens is undeviated. So let us discuss one by one. So the ray diagram for two cases of converging lenses are shown here, part A and part B. The ray diagram for a converging lens shown the formation of real image and virtual image in a figure A and B respectively. Real image and virtual image. So in this figure, a real image is formed in diagram A and virtual image is formed in diagram B. The lens setup is shown in a figure B is called a simple magnifier. With lenses as with mirrors, virtual images are right side and up, and real images are inverted. This is why slides inserted into a projector are inverted. The projector lens reinverts the image on the screen. That's why we are inserting a lens. Okay. Similarly, for a ray diagram for a diverging lens also, the focal length is positive for converging lens and negative for the diverging lens. The object and the image distance are positive if they are opposite sides of the lens and negative if they are on the same side. The relative size and position of the object and the image for converging lenses are similar to the four cases as we discuss in concave mirror. If O is greater than 2f, the image is inverted, smaller and located in between f and 2f, on the opposite side. If O is equal to 2f, the image is inverted, the same size of the object and located at a distance 2f. That is, the distance of both the object and the image to the lens are equal but opposite side. That's why if O is equal to 2f, if O lies in between 2f and f, the image is inverted, larger than the object and located at a distance greater than 2f. And the fourth case, in which if O is less than f, the image is virtual, enlarged and located on the same side of the lens. 3 out of 4 cases the image is inverted, and remaining in one case image is virtual, which is observed on the same side of the object. Okay. These are some basic concepts of geometrical optics. If you have any doubt in this case, you can ask me anytime. Thank you.